So welcome guys to Free Your Authentic Voice 7-day series. This is day 4 and it is Accept Your Voice. Before we get started, I see we have a new member. So I just want to say hello, Karen. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. We do these lives every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's Nashville, Tennessee time. Really glad that you're here. So we're just going to jump into this. And I just want to go ahead and warn you, I might ramble because this subject is really important to me and I have so many things I want to say, but I also want to encourage you to be as vocal as possible in the comments because I'm going to rely also on your experience. Like, what are the difficulties when it comes to accepting our voices? What's this process been like for you? Have there been major issues with accepting the voice? I know that when we talk about just the word accept, like accept the voice you have, it kind of seems like, well, yeah, that would be really great. But for many singers, it is almost like their own personal little curse. You know, it can be very defeatist because it's like, well, great, like I came here to improve my voice. And for many of those singers, the word improve is really more like I came here to change my voice entirely because maybe they can't stand the sound of their own voice and they want to do anything that they can do to get a new voice, get a voiceectomy and get a new voice, and they want to learn as much as they can about changing everything about who they are so that they can sound like some of their vocal heroes. And so when we say accept the voice you have, that can seem like a curse, like, oh, great, like I'm forced to endure this awful voice that I have. So I just want to acknowledge that is an experience for a lot of singers, and it's for many, almost all, that will be an experience at some point in the vocal journey. But I want to talk and see if we can sift through the salt and the sugar today, like, because our goal is authenticity. Authenticity, which is, to my definition, is to be completely and unapologetically present. So we've got to take stock of kind of what is my voice? Where is my voice? What is my voice like naturally? What are the things that my voice naturally wants to do, that takes very little energy to do, and my voice naturally wants to do? And this is very difficult for a lot of singers because there's a lot of that self-loathing. When a lot of singers have that self-loathing when they come into lessons, and it might not be of their own making. Maybe their choir teacher said something, or their voice teacher said something, or their parent or their friend said something that really cause them to reject their own voice or be embarrassed by their own voice. So I just want to start at the top of the lesson today and just, again, for sake of clarity, so that we can sift through the salt and the sugar to hopefully feel like we can at least create a relationship with our own authentic voice. I happen to think I'm going to use another definition. I'm going to throw in a word that I have not liked for a while, and that is the word talent. I have not really liked that word because I don't really agree. I agree with people when they use that word in the context of a sentence. Like, say, for example, Susie can't sing because Susie has no talent. Or you're either born with talent or you're not born with talent. It implies that there's something that's beyond your control that limits who you can be as a person. So I'm going to redefine what the word talent means to me in my own experience when I have actually been told that I'm talented and what I did had an impact on those that I shared with. And so when I was being authentic to myself, I found that people responded with, "Oh, you're so talented." And it's very important to acknowledge the word talent, because what I was demonstrating in those key moments when that reaction happened from people was that I found myself to be free of blocks. It was almost like I was like, let's do this thing. I'm just going to participate. I'm going to participate wholeheartedly, and I'm just going to allow myself to be free of blocks. So that is my definition for the word talent. And I do believe, ladies and gents, that is why we are here. We intimately feel that. We know that we have a potential inside of ourselves that's just going, I just need to get out. I need to create something beautiful with my life. You know, I need to participate in the world in a way that feels like truly alive. So the word talent is to be free of those emotional and physical blocks. So when we're uncovering the word authentic, we have to move through our blocks. What blocks us? What keeps us from discerning what our own authenticity is even like, right? It's like I said, it's like trying to little one kernel at a time, sifting through salt and sugar. It can be very, very similar to the view, but very different to the taste. So how do we do that? How do we go about allowing ourselves to experience our voice without blocks? Well, a good place to start is, and I hate to sound cliche, but it's just surrender to it. And I do think that that's going to trigger a lot of people. It's going to trigger some intense fear in a lot of people. Because just like we feel that we have this potential inside of our souls to express something that feels very important to us, we also know that as we set forth that intention and breathe and set voice into motion, that as we surrender into that process, there are going to be times where our voice shakes, where it wobbles, where it goes flat, where it goes sharp. And that is just the process, right? You're allowing the voice to actually be able to move. That's so important. So important. So if you're a beginner singer and you're going, I kind of don't know where to start, I would just say, don't even worry about all the refining things. Go general. Just let the voice move first. See what that feels like in your body, because you've got to allow for that movement, and you've got to allow for the voice to go into those spaces where you would not have allowed it to go before, and allow it to go into those spaces in a way that's kind of not impressive. Just about the movement, just about that movement. You will find that you'll be triggered in so many ways. I've had students randomly burst into tears because they're so locked down with their voices that when they finally allow the voice just to actually move even a little, without their protection or without their judgment or without their scrutiny and their disdain and their self-loathing. I mean, we embody all of that. And the voice is just allowed to even move a little bit. It's like, like there's all sorts of things that are triggered, and tears is definitely among them. So I just really want to encourage you to just let the voice move. Let the voice move. Or if you're even a professional singer and you find yourself kind of stuck in your voice because, again, you've not allowed for that movement, just allow for your voice to get a little loose, a little wild even, almost like you're giving a massage. You want, like I said before, you want the voice to be able to go to those places where you may not have wanted it to go before because you're so result at all costs about the voice. So that momentum, that ability to move the voice is paramount. If you're ever going to do anything authentic as a singer, you've got to allow for that movement. We may come back to that. Another thing that I want to say is another reason why people find it so difficult to find their own authentic voice is because they have attempted to mimic another artist because that artist's voice is deemed acceptable, right? That's the standard for acceptable. So you've got to sound just like this. Now just think about if your voice were like a spirit, like its own being, and you forced it to change itself every time you sang because you're trying to match someone else's voice, that would honestly hurt the spirit of the voice. And I know that I'm like spirit and stuff, but voice is intensely psychological. So we have to look at it in terms of it's a function of our own self, our subconscious mind, our own selfhood, right? That's why we identify with it so much that when we reject it over and over and over and over again, it literally shuts down because it's like a small child that's just been told that it can do nothing right. So it shuts down. So how do we bring the spirit of the voice back to being able to trust you? I know sometimes we go, I don't trust my voice. Well, the truth of the matter is your voice does not trust you. You're not handling it with respect or with any sort of, I already said the word respect, any sort of honor, like it has a value in and of itself. And again, it kind of comes back to, well, I mean, there's just been this pattern of rejecting ourselves. Everything about ourselves, we kind of cut away. We keep cutting away all those things that make us uniquely who we are because we're trying to assimilate. We're trying to fit into something else because we want that outside validation instead of that interior life of going, I feel whole, I feel complete. So the best we can do, if that's the case, and both of these things will be us, probably often. So the best thing we can do is, again, restore the voice to movement. When we move lackadaisically and we just let the voice do what the voice needs to do, what the voice wants to do, and we relinquish that desire to control at all costs, then the voice, the authentic voice, can kind of reveal itself to us. And I really want you to keep that in mind. You don't necessarily dictate your authenticity. You dictate your style, right? Your taste. But even those, like what generates your particular taste? Combination of factors, right? Like what other people like. Again, there's that. But then you may be drawn to something that other people don't like. So did you exactly control feeling drawn to it? Not necessarily. It's like creativity or it's like interest. We don't know where those things come from. So we can't even necessarily dictate them, but we can choose them, right? So you can't really choose your authenticity. I can't choose my skeletal structure. I can't choose my height. I was born that way. So in a sense, you were given the voice that you were given, and no one else has that voice. No one on this green earth is going to have the voice you have. That's not a punishment. That is a gift. So we have to first stop looking at the voice as being something that we are deeply ashamed of, deeply embarrassed by. And we just have to sort of go, all right, well, it is. And my job is to create a relationship with what it is. Sound good so far? You guys are kind of quiet. I know it's a heavy topic, and it's really hard. It's really hard to kind of sift through it. But if we just put our taste aside today and look at our voices, okay, it's something that is us. It is us, but we don't choose it. It was given to us, like the sweet little souls that we have. We didn't choose those either. Those were given to us. So we have to honor them, and it's our job to sort of protect it. like, instead of going, I hate you. I hate that you don't sound the way I want you. I hate your tone. I hate you can't match pitch. I hate that you sound like you're 10 years old. You know, instead of like the litany of all the things we hate about our voice, instead just shift our mindset to one of, it's my job to protect you. It's my job to help you develop. It's my job to encourage.